Hello everyone, today we will set up a Rogue man-in-the-middle public proxy server that works over the internet. So this means we can actually decrypt SSL TLS traffic, basically HTTPS traffic port 443, and all the traffic inside the client sides from the router, all the clients that are connected to the router, we can basically set up a proxy on their client device. So all the traffic gets redirected to a Rogue man-in-the-middle proxy server. So in this way, we will also need to port forward the port of the Rogue proxy server, so it will actually work. Now, in this clip, I will show you guys how we can actually set everything up for a Rogue proxy server. So first of all, we will actually sign up with Ngrok. This actually port forwards everything to the public internet, meaning we can actually capture traffic from any device outside. If you sign up for free, we can actually use an account. So basically, I already have signed up with a Google account. So there are many different ways you can actually install it for Linux, Docker, Raspberry Pi, and so on. So for Windows, we can actually download some specific file here. If you guys click on the zip or WinRAR file, you guys can actually extract that on the desktop as well. And if you guys have it on the desktop, we can actually open CMD, run this administrator, and then we can copy this specific command. You first need to go to the desktop folder, or like the directory where the Ngrok file is, and then we paste this and hit enter. So this will add the token key to our Ngrok file, so we can actually authenticate and have the rights to port forward the traffic to WAN, basically to the public internet. So now we have actually made the token. So for trying out, let's clear the screen and let's write Ngrok TCP 8866. So as you guys can see, we can port forward the local traffic private IP address of our computer over the port 8866 through the Ngrok server, and also this port that we are going to use. So if you have this done, let's actually download the tool which can decrypt TLS and HTTPS traffic. So if you click on download Fiddler everywhere, this will actually download a file. Let's wait until this gets finished. So I already have this file actually. If I go to my folders, to downloads folders, I already have it installed. I don't need to install it again. So if I actually click on it, I just agree, install. Anyone who uses computer, we can select how we want. So I'm just gonna install it, and I'm gonna show you guys how we can actually set it up in basically authenticate. Finish. So let's run actually the software which can decrypt the traffic and run it as a proxy. So we will get this dashboard at the beginning, so it says sign in or create an account. We will of course create an account because we don't have an account. So I will sign in with Google. So for this case, I already have actually registered an account and signed up with Google. You guys just need to click on go back to app. And we're just gonna wait until this finishes loading. So now we're actually at our Fiddler dashboard. And also in this dashboard, we will actually see the network traffic. So we can actually look at it later, because we first need to set up the specific devices. So first of all, we can actually capture with a system proxy, meaning we can set up a proxy on the Windows system to capture all the traffic. Or we can actually do it for remote devices, for Android phones, iPhones, and also Windows systems, Mac systems. The same can work also for Linux. But if we click on one, we can see, for example, how we can configure the ports and what kind of web URL we can actually access to download the certificate and set it up. So we can actually choose the adapter also specific to that. And if we go further, this is how we can install the profile to actually accept the certificates for HTTPS decryption. And we can also we can next trust the certificate, configure the iOS device with the proxy, so we can configure the port and server that we want to listen on, and then we can test the connectivity. So we can also scan the specific QR code to actually listen to the connection on the last dashboard. So all of this you guys can actually configure yourself. This is very easy and lightweight to understand. But for configuring HTTPS actually to work, and that we actually can capture traffic in a custom way, I'm going to show you guys actually now. So if we go to the settings up here, let's trust the Fiddler certificate first of all, and let's click the button Capture HTTPS Traffic. In advanced setting, we can export the certificate as well to our computer. So we'll actually have it on our desktop inside here. So if you guys see here, we have a Fiddler root here. So what we can also do is actually go to connections, and we can change the port to a different port number for the proxy server as well. And we can also enable HTTP2 support or disable it. And we need to enable this one for remote devices to connect inside for it to work. And these are the URLs, meaning if we can, if Google.com, Instagram.com, Apple, any enterprise website doesn't trust our certificate, we can actually add a bypass rule to bypass that and capture HTTPS TLS traffic. So for this case, I will actually not write Google.com to show you guys what I mean. So first of all, the gateway and all of that is not that important. We'll talk about it later. So now if we save it and exit here, and we go to the browser and we write, for example, our IP address. So your IP address is actually located inside the command line terminal. As you guys can see here, for example, this is the private IP address. And also this, depending on your wireless adapter, how you can specify it. So if we hit, for example, enter, we can see actually the website URL for the certificate that we can download on our iPhone or Android, and then basically validate it so we can capture HTTPS traffic. So TLS HTTPS traffic in a way is how we can capture that. We need to validate that. So in the next clip, I'm going to show you guys how we can actually configure it on the client side to validate the certificate on the iPhone. So here I have my iPhone on the right side, and I have also basically the proxy which listens to connection on the left side. So to set it up, we already know that our proxy server listens on our private IP on the port 8866. If you guys look specifically here, we can actually see. So if we actually go again on the iPhone and want to set it up, we just go to Wi-Fi, we go to the information, we go to configure proxy, manual, and this is only locally. So if you write, for example, our IP address from our computer, right, that listens to the proxy server, and we write the port number, and we, for example, press save, and let's say we go to any kind of app, right? You can see all the data connection coming here. Or we can go to a different application. We can see another connection coming over there. So we also need to actually install specifically the certificate, so we can actually listen to HTTPS as well. So if you guys have this site running, then you guys just click on download certificate, allow, close. Now you guys go back to the settings, go to certificates, trusted certificates, then you guys just allow the do not trust Fiddler root and just continue. For anything that shows as Fiddler root, just enable it so you guys can listen to the wall connection inside. So now for this case, if we have, for example, the settings here, let's say we have some problems with any website that we cannot actually listen to, right? Let's say any specific website or data we cannot listen to. Let's say we want to go to Instagram, or let's say Facebook. So this works, but should this not work, you guys can actually place the facebook.com inside the bypass list here. Just like this, for example, facebook.com. And just save it. Should it not work? In case. So also one thing that you guys can do is actually you can clear this wall connection here. So if you guys only want to listen to iPhone connection, right? You guys can actually make a new rule depending on that. So if we actually go to the settings and we look at the private IP address here, we can see that this is the private IP address. And we only want to listen to this IP address and nothing else. So I already made a setting here. So if I edit it, you guys can name it to iPhone, keep this, write client IP, contains, and then also the specific IP address of the phone. So basically 0, 100. So you guys can, for example, write 2, just 100 like this, and just save it. So it's only going to listen to the iPhone connection and nothing else. This is very important that we can understand it. So now that we have some few connections here, we can, for example, click on one, go to overview, and we can see like the connection and certificate, how it gets retrieved, and the handshake of the wall protocol. So if we go to inspector, we can also go, for example, to raw, and we can see, the data of it. If we go to headers, for example, let's say we open a specific app. Let's say we go to, let's say google.com. So usually it will show like this at first, right? And if you guys actually add a bypass to it, like google.com, and you guys save it, I will again try to go out, and then let's go to Google again. And you guys see we actually bypassed that, and we don't need to actually certify it, validate that that the site is insecure if you want to continue still and all that. So we can just have it like that. So if that's why the bypass is very great on Fiddler everywhere. So what we can do else is actually, if we want to replay some request, right, we can go here. So let's say we want to replay some request like play google.com. We can also replay it. So this will actually send another specific request that is same. So for example, now if I go to any other application here, let's say I go here, we get some connections here, and we want to, for example, replay some requests like burp suit, right? So here's the header, here's the request, here's the response, and now if you want, for example, to replay and modify it, we can actually go to edit in Composer, and now we can execute the request. And this is the response we are getting basically. So if I want to change, for example, the content length, maybe we can do it raw. Let's say to 1000. When I execute that, this will send 1000 content length over. So I can also change, for example, the user agent. If we actually disable that, we can actually change the user agent to like hello Windows. Execute that. We will also get a different kind of response. We can see the raw data review of the page or the body. So for example, if it was like, let's say, my gateway website, right? My gateway website. You guys can see here, my gateway website. It will look like this, right? So for example, if we go back to the traffic that we have here, and we look at this and actually it did it in Composer, we can actually see the code as well. And if we preview it, we see the login page. Doesn't look as good here, but we can actually see the code and execute the tag, use HTTP 2, 1.0, 0.9, or also 1.1. So we can actually also look at all the code. For example, this is JavaScript, this is CSS, this is HTML, XML, JSON, and all kind of data structure in a website that we can get actually from. So to make this work over the internet, basically if we implement the proxy in the settings of a client, any computer or phone, if you, for example, will use Ngrok with it, let's say we will open the command prompt, go to the desktop, and actually open the port which is running on the Fiddler here, right? Because as you guys know, the connections is listening on the port 8866 on a private IP. So let's actually run a remote server by an Ngrok that port forwards our local traffic to the internet, that someone in the settings can implement our proxy basically. So they can implement our Ngrok server inside, and they can be in a totally different country, and actually the traffic from their device gets forwarded to our proxy basically. So if we actually go to settings now, we can actually set it up on the phone. So if we go to the settings, we go to the proxy settings menu, we type inside TCP AP Ngrok IO port number 13790, which is the remote port number. If we save it now, let's just save it. You guys will see some connections popping up actually here. So if we actually try to go to any, let's say, website, let's say google.com, we will see all the requests from the iPhone showing Google user content here. So just for understanding in a simple way, we have our Fiddler everywhere listening on our private IP localhost with the port 8866 port forwarded over the Ngrok server with the URL 0.tcp.ap.ngrok.io and also the port number 13790. So if we set it up on the client side, meaning a computer or iPhone, we can basically redirect the traffic where the phone basically goes to our Fiddler Everywhere software application, right? So all the traffic from there goes inside to our Fiddler, and we can actually look at all the traffic as a Rogue proxy server. So for example, if someone would have access to a computer or like a phone or even a router, they can actually set up the proxies there to have the malicious Fiddler Everywhere proxy. Meaning, if you will set up this remote proxy on any of their settings, we could capture all the traffic and it will actually go to us, basically to our machine, to our Fiddler Everywhere software that listens on the traffic connection over a proxy. Hello everyone, in this video I will show you guys how we can set up our proxy server on an EC2 instance server, which could be a Windows system or Linux system. Depending how you can set it up, you need to always enable port forwarding. So first of all, if we go to the EC2 instance, I will click on launch instance. We name it Rogue Proxy server. For this, I'm gonna choose the Debian distribution. I'm using free tier here for testing. And we will create a new key pair. We're gonna name it this H-access. We will create a key pair out of that. We have it here now on the downloads folder. And then we will also set up the settings. I will edit it here. And we can, for example, for SSH, we can make our own IP that we only have access to that. And then we can also make a custom TCP, so 8080 for man-in-middle proxy, like MITM proxy. If you guys found a way for setting up Fiddler, like the tool I showed before, you guys can also do 8866. So for this, I'm just gonna do 8080 because this is the port I set up it with. You guys need to add it to Internet Gateway security group, because you guys need to let all the traffic over the internet. This lets all the traffic over in the internet basically. So for this, I'm also just gonna put actually the HTTP, HTTPS inside as well. Yes, as well. Then if we go down, this is for receiving traffic. Should there be any problems with HTTP, HTTPS, we can actually do that. And now I'm just gonna hit on launch instance. So for this, I already have an instance running actually. So I already created one here. Just to show you guys, we need to connect over the remote IP. So if you, for example, go to actions, connect SSH client, we can copy this, go to our command line. Open a new command prompt. And we go to directory, cd downloads to download directory where we got our certificate, SSH1. And as you guys can see, we have SSH access.pem. So for me, I already have actually created the server. So I'm going to use the old one for that specifically. So we need to adjust the certificate here for SSH and the username admin and also the DNS host name or the IP address of our EC2 instance. And now we are inside the secure shell server. We can clear the terminal, sudo su for privilege. And what we're gonna do first is apt get update, apt get upgrade, apt get this upgrade, and then also write apt get install man-in-middle proxy. So this is important that we update the system, that it can retrieve all the repository from various tools that are known for pen testing or IT stuff. So if we hit enter, it's gonna install and update that. So I already have it installed, so I don't need to actually specify it. So actually, I have another session running on the same server. So what we need to do is actually, if we run man-in-middle proxy, right? We will need to listen to the interface that puts us out in the outbound and lets internet connection inside. And we need to listen to the port 8080 that we set up. So all the traffic from the outside clients can go inside if they set up a proxy server. And we also set block global false. The reason we set this up is because that we can actually make it over the internet and not inside our local network. And also the certs, we don't need to do that. If we hit enter, we are listening to the connection. And now, for example, if I set up the same thing like I set up on Fiddler on my iPhone. Let's say I visit some application. You guys can see we get the same connection like on Fiddler. So of course the TLS handshake won't work. Most applications have certificate pinning, so we cannot decrypt TLS. But for some reason, Fiddler everywhere, their tool can decrypt that. So if you guys forget how to set it up, you can go to the settings and then go to the options configuration. We set it to manual and we add the public IP address of our EC2 cloud instance server and the port that we have pre-configured 8080. So if we actually hit enter and for example I try to go again to like let's say this application, we will get some data connections here, as you guys can see. Or maybe let's try to go like on grab, for example. So this won't work as how we want because it has certificate pinning. So if you try to go Instagram, it will be the same, that the client TLS handshake won't work. So for this, you guys need to actually look up certificate pinning. So this is just for me to actually set up as how we can actually make it work over the internet.